All right, this is going to be a quick comparison between the 2015 MacBook Air 13-inch and the 2015 MacBook Pro Non-retina 13-inch. So the reason why we're comparing these two MacBooks is because they're pretty close in price. Right now you can get the MacBook Air 13-inch with 128 gigabyte SSD hard drive for $1,000, and you get the MacBook Pro Non-retina for $1,100. About form, these are both beautiful devices. In fact, the MacBook Air is only 0.68 inches thick at its thickest point, while the MacBook Pro is 0.95 inches all the way around. Even though the MacBook Pro is bigger, as you can both see in the video, they're both really thin devices. Now, talk about weight, the MacBook Air is going to be weighing in at 2.96 pounds, which is very light, very easy to carry around, great for students or anyone who's on the go. While the MacBook Pro is going to be weighing 4.5 pounds, which is heavier compared to the MacBook Air, but compared to other PCs, it is fairly light. Ports are going to be a big factor in any device, so we're going to compare the two, the MacBook Air versus the MacBook Pro Non-retina. So as you can see on the MacBook Air, you're going to start off with the power port, USB 3.0 port, headphone jack port, and here's the microphone ports right here. When you go to the other side, you're going to have the SD card slot, USB 3.0 port, and Thunderbolt port. So pretty competitive with ports for a small device, and I believe Apple has packed a lot in this one. Now when you come to the MacBook Pro Non-retina, we're going to have the power port. We're also going to have an Ethernet port, a connection port right there, a Thunderbolt port right there, two USB ports, SD card slot, headphone jack. Now on this side, we're going to have the lockdown port where you can lock down the device, and you're going to have the DVD-ROM. So they're both going to be competitive, and you really have to figure out what's more important for you. For some people, having an Ethernet slot and a DVD drive is a must-have, and if that's the case, you're going to want to go with the MacBook Pro Non-retina. Now when comparing the screens, they're both going to have a 13.3-inch screen, as you guys can see. So the same size screen, but the biggest difference is going to be the resolution you're going to get with both screens. So in the MacBook Air, we're looking at a 1440 by 900 pixel resolution and a 16 by 10 aspect ratio. And on the MacBook Pro Non-retina, we're looking at a 1280 by 800 pixels and again a 16 by 10 ratio. So when comparing the two, technically the MacBook Air has a higher pixel density. One thing that I've noticed is that I actually do think that even though this is a lower pixel density, that the screen is actually brighter. And I've noticed it, and a couple of my friends have noticed it too. So that's one thing I do want to point out. Now guys, as far as keyboards and mouse pads, since the MacBook Pro is thicker and feels to be thicker, that it is definitely a different feel on the keyboard. Feels really good and feels really solid. And it's going to have the traditional click pad that's over here. So, the MacBook Air, simply because it's a thinner computer, it still feels good, but it doesn't feel as solid as the MacBook Pro. So if keyboards are a determining factor for you guys, I might lean towards the MacBook Pro, but I would also recommend you guys just getting in the store and trying them both out. For me personally, I like the thinness of the MacBook Air, but I do prefer the just the solid feel of the MacBook Pro's keyboard. And again, that's because it's a thicker one, because it's an older model. So when comparing processors, both these laptops are going to be using an i5 processor. The biggest difference is the MacBook Air is going to be using a 1.6 gigahertz i5 processor over here, while the MacBook Pro is using a 2.5 gigahertz i5 processor. Both computers only have 4 gigs of RAM, but in the MacBook Pro Non-retina, you can upgrade it. Both RAMs are going to be at 16 megahertz, and it's both DDR3 RAM. As far as graphics cards, you are going to have a better graphics card over here in the MacBook Air. We're looking at a HD 6000 graphics card versus an HD 4000 graphics card. So those are some of the comparisons, and you really have to get a feel for it. In day-to-day use, I really didn't see a huge difference in either one of them, but I just wanted to point that out to everyone. One of the best ways to test speed of a computer is to turn it on from being off. So I have both laptops off, and we're going to turn them on at the same time. We're going to see which one boots up faster. So here we go in a 3, 2, 1. So they're both going, and we're going to see which one boots up faster. So just like that, So it looks like the MacBook Air did boot up first, but the MacBook Pro wasn't far behind. Hey guys, it's my opinion that one of the best ways to see how fast a computer is to restart it. So I have all the apps closed on both computers, and we're going to restart them at the same time. We're going to see which computer boots back up first. So 3, 2, 1. And they're both asking for this restart button. So just to be fair, I'm going to hit this at the same time, and we're going to see which one of these restarts first. Now, I'm going to guess it's going to be the MacBook Air, but just to be fair, we're going to do the full test and see which one restarts first. Like I've said, as far as day-to-day usage of both, okay. So you can see MacBook Air looks like it's restarted, and there we go. So just to kind of give you guys a feel for it, the MacBook Air is a little bit faster, but even the MacBook Pro is older, it's not that far behind. So still really impressed. So I firmly believe that battery life can make or break any great device. And for me personally, my primary uses for a laptop are going to be surfing the web, surfing YouTube, processing documents, and editing video or music. And as far as what Apple quotes both laptops, Apple quotes the MacBook Air as having 12 hours of web browsing and 7 hours over here. Now, personally, I did see an advantage with MacBook Air as far as battery life, but I didn't get anywhere near 12 hours. But for me, I have the screen on full brightness, so I don't expect to get that. And like I said, I'm pretty heavy on stuff, so I'm not getting 12 hours, I'm getting more like 8 to 9 hours on this one. Now, as far as the MacBook Pro Non-retina, like I said, Apple's quoting 7 hours over here, and like I said, I have the screen on full brightness, and I'm either blasting the speakers and doing all types of stuff on it. I'm getting not 7 hours, but more like 4.5, 5 hours, which is still pretty impressive for a laptop. So I think they're both great products, but if battery life is the biggest factor for you, I would go with the MacBook Air. So guys, in conclusion about this comparison, I think these are both great devices. Even though this MacBook Pro Non-retina did come out in 2012, the reason why Apple is still selling it is because they're still in market. It's still a very competitive MacBook, and I believe this MacBook can still beat out a lot of the brand new computers out there. And the reason why the MacBook Air is so popular is because portability. It's so super thin, as you guys can see. It is just super thin. It's light, great battery, and they're both great computers. As far as picking one for my personal usage, I really haven't decided yet. I like them both. I kind of lean towards the MacBook Air just because it's so thin, but there are a lot of things about the MacBook Pro that I do like. And really, for anyone out there, you're really going to have to weigh the pros and cons and figure out what's most valuable for you. Anyways, guys, hope this was pretty helpful for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a question below. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up for me. And if you want to see more great videos like this, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thank you and have a great day.